Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
From makeshift studios deep in the heart of stately Maine Manor, this is the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show, and I am your host, Joey Harris. You can follow the show on Twitter at Cup of Joe Pod. You can email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. And folks, I am back. Went to the opening night premiere last Thursday of Top Gun Maverick, and just give it the biggest mark that I can give you. 2 thumbs up. Both the thumbs are working and they are up. Fantastic movie. I like it better than the first one. Just great storyline, great action, something for everybody. So if you get a chance to see it, go see it. Definitely has my thumbs up. Project 45 continues as we take a look at the Monday Night Raw from May the 2nd, 2005. In 2005, I was working in security in May, and about to make a huge jump in August of that year into doing what I do now and work in student housing at a college. So not the same college, but at a college. Monday Night Raw was shown on Spike TV live from the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. We start out with our WWE intro. Batista is shown in the back with Christy Hemme. He tells her he enjoyed her Playboy cover. She says thank you and that she enjoyed watching him last night. He did an outstanding job. They are interrupted by Eric Bischoff, who asks Hemme to give them a few moments. She says okay, but Batista tells her not to go anywhere. Bischoff says he's here to congratulate Batista. He had a phenomenal title defense against Triple H, and it was an amazing match. Bischoff says he thought it would be a perfect night to announce a tournament to announce a new number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Champion. He thought he would call it the Gold Rush Tournament. He says the 8 men know that they are in the tournament, but not who their opponent is going to be until the ring announcer announces their name. The first match tonight on Raw is going to begin the tournament. He then tells Batista to take the night off. Batista says he's on a roll and he thinks he wants a match tonight, and he wants someone brave and powerful. Someone brave enough to take on Vince McMahon in the Monday Night Wars. Bischoff shakes his head no. Batista says since Triple H got to wrestle JR, maybe Batista would like a match with Eric Bischoff, and maybe we can start that match right now. And Bischoff screams no, no, no. And Batista laughs. Batista tells him to relax and lighten up. He then tells Bischoff that he needs the night off. We then get our Raw intro. Fireworks go off. Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler welcome us to Monday Night Raw. Gold Rush Tournament first round. Christian with Tomko versus Kane with Lita. Lita comes out using a crutch. Christian rolls out of the ring as Kane gets in. Christian gets in the ring and gets up in Kane's face, or as much in his face as he can, seeing that Kane is several inches taller than Christian. Christian is trash-talking Kane. They lock up and Kane pushes Christian off and outside of the ring. Christian gets back in the ring and hits Kane with several shots. Christian tries to rush Kane and gets a boot to his face for his troubles. Christian then clotheslined to the outside. Kane follows Christian out. Tomko starts to come around to that side, but the referee keeps him away. Christian rolls in and distracts the referee, allowing Tomko to run Kane headfirst into the apron. Christian then hits a springboard crossbody onto Kane on the outside. Christian rolls Kane back inside and gets a 2 count as some in the crowd start chanting "We want Matt" at Lita, as the real-life situation between Matt Hardy, Edge, and Lita had started around this time. Christian puts Kane throat first on the second rope and starts hitting his back with forearms. Christian then gets Kane up against the ropes and slaps Kane's chest. Kane comes back with a series of right hands that knock Christian down. Christian gets Kane down in a corner and hits Kane with a series of kicks. He stomps Kane and then gets him back down throat first on the second rope again and pushes Kane down on the rope with his boot. He then puts both feet on Kane's back and stands on him as the referee counts. He breaks on the 4 count as Kane falls to the mat. Christian hits a death drop for a 2 count. Christian starts to take a turnbuckle pad off. but the referee stops him and fixes the pad as Christian starts attacking Kane with forearms to the back. He then goes to rush Kane, who knocks Christian down with one shot. Kane with an Irish whip and a slam that knocks Christian to the mat. Kane with a corner clothesline. Kane tries for a corner charge, but Christian gets his boots up. Kane goes to chokeslam Christian, who slips behind Kane. He jumps on Kane's back and applies a sleeper to Kane. Kane turns it into a side slam. Kane goes up top, but Tomko pushes him off when the referee isn't looking, and Kane guillotines himself on the top rope. Christian goes for the unprettier, but Kane pushes off. Kane catches Christian, but Christian slips behind Kane. Christian with a thumb to the eye of Kane. Tomko gets up on the apron, but Kane reverses an Irish whip, and Christian runs into Tomko, knocking him off of the apron. Kane with a choke slam and a pin to Christian. Tomko grabs Christian and starts to carry him away. Kane turns his back and Tomko attacks Kane from behind. Kane reverses an Irish whip and hits Tomko with a big boot. He then hits a choke slam on Tomko. Christian is shown walking backstage looking over his shoulder and gasping for breath. He runs into Ric Flair. Flair laughs at Christian and asks him if he just lost that match. Flair says, better yet, were you rapping last night at Backlash? He says he's been thinking all day about this, and he's going to rap for Christian. You lost the match, kid, so take it from the Nate. The winner of this tournament will be Triple H. He then woos Christian and leaves. I was embarrassed to type this in my notes. Backlash recap of Hulk Hogan coming back for one more match. Muhammad Hassan and Daivari come down to the ring. Daivari introduces Muhammad Hassan. Hassan says he is out here tonight because he will not let this injustice go without confrontation. He's talking about the fact that he was undefeated on Raw, and he is excluded from the Gold Rush tournament, just like he was excluded from WrestleMania by the prejudiced administration staff of the WWE. A "You Suck" chant goes out. And why was he excluded? Was it because of what happened last night at Backlash? What happened to him at Backlash was a travesty. And he blames Shawn Michaels, and he blames your so-called American hero, Hulk Hogan. The crowd cheers wildly. But most importantly, he blames every single one of you as he points to the crowd. He says, but there is one more person that needs to be held accountable for their actions, and he points to Daivari. Daivari mouths, who, me? And Hassan says, last night, he had Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan on their knees, and Daivari blew it, and he knows it. He says last night, he could have been a legend. He could have become an icon, and Daivari blew it. Daivari says he was just trying to help Hassan, and Hassan slaps him. He comes back and gets slapped again and falls to the mat, and Hassan yells at him that Hassan could have been a legend. The audience yells one more time, and Hassan kicks Daivari in the head. Hassan spits on Daivari and gets out of the ring as a Hogan chant goes out. Hassan then goes back up the ramp, and Daivari follows him struggling back up the aisle. Viscera comes out after the commercial break. Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler talk about Viscera splashing Trish Stratus at Backlash. Viscera gets on the mic and says last night, he proved how physical he can be, and he also proved his hunger for love. He then turns and says, which brings me to you, Lillian Garcia. He goes over and says, yeah, because I'm a big man and I like to eat spicy. He says, and seeing that you're a spicy Latina, and Lillian looks as horrified as I feel. He says, why don't you let me go south of the border tonight? He says, you like that? And Simon Dean's music hits, and he says, whoa, Vis, hold on, man. Dean says, women don't want men who are out of shape like Viscera or David Wells, and the Boston crowd boos. Dean says they want men who are in shape, Greek gods like him. He says Vis should use his system so that when he showed up at a woman's front door, he wouldn't cause a solar eclipse. Dean gets in the ring and says instead of them having a match tonight, how about he gives Vis a lifetime supply of his patented Simon system? He says because just like the people of Boston, it would take him a lifetime of getting in shape. He then calls Vis a disgusting, ugly, fat, and then Vis grabs Dean by the throat and slaps his chest as the bell rings. Viscera versus Simon Dean. Viscera slaps and Irish whips Dean. Dean slips through Viscera's legs and hits him. Viscera pushes Dean down. He then scoop slams Dean. He then puts Dean into the Tree of Woe. Dean grabs Viscera by the leg. Viscera picks Dean up by his hair and slams him back on the turnbuckle. Viscera backsplashes Dean in the corner. Dean falls to the mat. Viscera misses an elbow drop when Dean moves. Dean gets a 2 count. Dean with punches and kicks and goes for a double axe handle on Viscera from the second rope, but Viscera catches and slams Dean down in midair. Viscera with a big splash and a pin. Viscera then goes to ringside and grabs the mic from Lillian. He says that he wants Lillian and every woman in the world to know that Big Vis is back on the market. He then makes Lillian jump and leaves. Backstage, Candice Michelle and Stacy Keibler are looking at Stacy's pics in Stuff magazine, which I had a subscription to at this time. Eric Bischoff comes up to them and tells them we're going to have to get those pics on the show next week when the issue comes out. He then goes into his office and Triple H is in there. Bischoff says, "What in the hell are you doing here?" Triple H says, "I just thought I would come hang out in your office for a little bit and see if I can drum up any answers to the questions I have." Questions like, "What in the hell do you think you're doing, Eric? A tournament? A frickin' tournament? For what?" Triple H says he should be the world's heavyweight champion. Bischoff says maybe we should talk about this, and Triple H says talk about nothing. You were at Backlash last night. You saw it. I did what I said I was going to do. I pedigreed Batista's ass right in the middle of that ring. He was beaten, but your frickin' incompetent referees weren't there to do their job. I got screwed out of the world's heavyweight championship. Now there's no need for any tournament. You need to give me a rematch, and you need to give it to me now. You owe me that. Bischoff says, Triple H, the way I see things, I don't owe you anything, and after you pedigreed one of my referees' faces right into the mat, you're lucky you're even in the tournament. Look, all you've got to do is win the tournament and you get another crack at Batista. But until then, we're going to do things my way. Understood? Triple H says, you tell Batista he's on borrowed time. I don't care who I've got to go through. I will get my rematch and I will be the world's heavyweight champion again. Maria Kanellis interviews Shelton Benjamin. Benjamin is the current Intercontinental Champion. Maria asks him if he is nervous about not knowing who he is going to face. Benjamin says, me? Nervous? Come on, I'm the champ. I've got to be ready to go toe-to-toe with anyone at any time, day or night. Benjamin looks up and Chris Jericho is standing there. Benjamin says, I don't see your guitars. No concert? Jericho shakes his head no. Benjamin says, what do you want? Jericho says, here's the deal, Shelton. I challenged you for that championship and last night you beat me. Fair and square, and on top of that, you did things in that ring that no one else can do and it was amazing, and for that, I respect you. Fact is, Shelton, you're nobody's bitch. Benjamin says, is that what you came out here for? Is that supposed to mean something to me? I tell you what it does. Jericho goes to leave and Benjamin says, 1 second. This Gold Rush tournament, are you in it? Jericho says, oh, I'm in it. I don't know who I'm wrestling. I don't know when. I could be wrestling against you next segment. Wouldn't that be peculiar? Benjamin says, wouldn't it? Jericho says, the deal is this, Shelton. I have to win that tournament. I haven't had a one-on-one title match for almost 3 years. 3 years. This could be my last chance. I've been playing rock concerts with Fozzy and hosting the highlight reel. It's all been great, but I'd give it all up for the chance to be the world champion one more time. Benjamin says he can respect that. He extends his hand to Jericho and says, best of luck, and they shake hands. Benjamin then leaves. In memory of Chris Candido comes on the screen as he had just passed away. Shelton Benjamin versus Shawn Michaels. Benjamin out first. The crowd goes crazy when Michaels' music hits and he comes out. The bell rings and they circle each other. They lock up and Michaels with a go behind and a waistlock takedown. Benjamin with a sit out and a reversal. A series of reversals and Michaels gets to the ropes. Benjamin breaks. An HBK chant goes out. They circle each other again. They lock up again. Michaels with a side headlock into a hammerlock and Benjamin reverses. Michaels reverses that. Michaels with a waistlock takedown. Benjamin with a sit out and a series of reversals by both men. Benjamin with a waistlock and Michaels again gets to the ropes. Another clean break. The HBK chant starts again. They lock up again and Michaels with a side headlock takeover. Benjamin makes it back to his feet. Benjamin pushes off. Michaels comes back with a shoulder block. Michaels runs the ropes and reverses a Benjamin hip lock attempt. Benjamin with a couple of kicks to knock Michaels down. Benjamin follows that up with an arm drag. Benjamin with another arm drag. Michaels backs off and appears frustrated at Benjamin. They lock up again, and Benjamin with a side headlock into a takeover. Gets a 2 count. Michaels rolls over and gets a 2 count of his own. Benjamin keeps the hold on, and Michaels rolls over and gets another 2 count. Michaels gets back to his feet. Michaels with some shots to the midsection to break the hold. Michaels gets a side headlock. Benjamin pushes off. Michaels comes back with a shoulder block. Benjamin drops down, and Michaels with a unique modified roll-up to get a 2 count. Michaels with a big forearm shot to Benjamin. Michaels with a chop. Michaels with an Irish whip and goes to slam Benjamin, but Benjamin slips behind Michaels and goes to roll Michaels up, but Michaels holds on to the ropes. Benjamin rolls through and clotheslines Michaels outside. They both go over the top rope. When they come back from the commercial break, they are battling on the top turnbuckle, and Michaels goes for a belly-to-back suplex off the top rope, but Benjamin turns in midair and hits Michaels with a shot. Double count going. Both get up as Batista is shown watching the match from a big monitor in the back. Michaels ducks a big Benjamin swing. Michaels chopping Benjamin. Benjamin keeps swinging. Michaels keeps ducking, and Michaels comes back with chops. Michaels off the ropes, and Benjamin hits him with a Samoan drop. Another double count going. They get up and go back and forth in the middle of the ring. Benjamin with a series of right hands to Michaels. Michaels reverses an Irish whip, and Benjamin comes back with a flying forearm. Then clothesline to Michaels. Benjamin with an inverted backbreaker. He gets a close 2 count. Benjamin with an Irish whip. Benjamin drops his head too early and Michaels kicks him in the face. Michaels with a chop and Benjamin reverses an Irish whip. Michaels comes back with a flying forearm. Double count going. Michaels kips up on the 8 count. Benjamin then kips up. Michaels catches Benjamin's leg when he goes for a kick and goes for a move, but Benjamin slips around him and gets a victory roll. Michaels keeps rolling and rolls Benjamin up. Benjamin flips up and counters that for a close 2 count. Fantastic series of moves there. Michaels with a hard chop to Benjamin. An HBK chant goes out as Michaels pushes Benjamin back into a corner. He then chops Benjamin in the corner. Benjamin reverses a corner whip. Benjamin follows it up with a corner splash. Benjamin goes for a suplex, but Michaels counters with elbows to get out of the move. Michaels with a backdrop to Benjamin. Another double count going. Both get up at the same time. Benjamin ducks a superkick attempt. Benjamin goes for a kick. Michaels catches his leg. So Benjamin hits Michaels with a spinning heel kick. He gets an extremely close 2 count. Benjamin puts Michaels on the top turnbuckle. Benjamin gets on the second rope, and Michaels trying to knock him off with some forearm shots. He knocks Benjamin off of the turnbuckle. Michaels hits a top rope elbow drop. Michaels hurting and using the ropes to get up, and he is bleeding from the mouth. He starts stomping in the corner, setting up for sweet chin music. Benjamin blocks it and hits an enziguri. Benjamin gets another 2 count. Benjamin can't believe Michaels kicked out. Michaels grabs Benjamin from behind, and Benjamin hits Michaels with several back elbows. Benjamin jumps to the top rope and hits a reverse flying forearm. He gets another close 2 count. Benjamin rushes Michaels, who sidesteps and pushes Benjamin, who jumps over the ropes. Benjamin with a springboard leap, and Michaels catches him with a super kick in midair to get the pin. Michaels then checks on Benjamin. Todd Grisham talks to Edge, who is the current Money in the Bank briefcase holder and in the Gold Rush tournament. Grisham asks him why. Edge tells him not to gloss over the fact that last night, Edge beat Chris Benoit in a last man standing match. Benoit, who everyone says is the toughest man in the WWE, the rabid Wolverine. Well, Edge left him in an unconscious heap, and he guesses that makes Mr. Money in the Bank the toughest man in the WWE. So he asks him the question why? Why would he want 2 title matches? His answer is that no one, not even Batista, can withstand 2 title matches against Edge. Grisham says then the only thing that could stop you would be if you were drafted to go to SmackDown later this month. Then your guaranteed title match would be useless. Edge says, "What are you trying to say, chump stain?" Grisham says you have a guaranteed world title shot, which is on Raw. However, on SmackDown, they have the WWE Championship. Edge says all that matters is that he will be champion. Bank on it. This interview is over. He walks away and runs into Victoria and Lita talking and says, "What the hell are you looking at?" Victoria tells him absolutely nothing. WWE Tag Team Championship match. The Hurricane and Rosie versus La Resistance Sylvain Grenier and Rob Conway. Rosie and Grenier start. Rosie pushes Grenier down. Grenier kicks Rosie in the stomach and punches him several times. Rosie reverses an Irish whip. Grenier comes back with a sunset flip, but Rosie drops down on Grenier. Rosie with a side headlock. Grenier pushes off. Conway pulls the rope down, and Rosie spills to the outside. Hurricane comes in, and the referee is trying to get him out. Conway drops down off of the apron to attack Rosie. He runs Rosie into a ring post. Hurricane comes out after Conway, but gets attacked from behind by Grenier. La Resistance throw Rosie back in the ring. Grenier gets a 2 count. Conway tagged in. He attacks Rosie with punches to the face. Conway drops an elbow on Rosie for another 2 count. Grenier tagged back in. He attacks Rosie with forearms. He kicks Rosie and forearms him again and then goes over and knocks Hurricane off of the apron. Grenier gets Rosie in a front face lock and tags Conway back in. Grenier lifts Rosie up for Conway to hit him with a clothesline, gets a 2 count. Conway slams Rosie into the corner and tags Grenier back in. Rosie fighting back against La Resistance with punches and back elbows. He gets out of the corner and tags Hurricane in. He comes in and cleans house. Hurricane with a corner whip. Grenier comes back with a back elbow on the charge. Grenier gets on the second rope. Hurricane Rana's Grenier off of the top rope. He goes to make the cover, but Conway breaks up the pin attempt. Conway with a corner whip to Hurricane. Hurricane backdrops Conway out of the ring when he goes to charge in. Grenier goes to charge, and Hurricane hits him with a vicious-looking European uppercut. Then a double-team Shining Wizard by the Superheroes gets the pin. Gold Rush Tournament match. Edge versus Chris Jericho. The bell rings and they lock up. Drive to the corner. They break clean. They circle each other as a "You Screwed Matt" chant goes out towards Edge. Edge with a waist lock. Jericho reverses into a wrist lock. Into a hammer lock. Edge reverses the hold. Into a side headlock on Jericho. Jericho responds with an overhead wrist lock. Edge pulls the hair to get out of the hold. Jericho quickly back to his feet. Edge pushes Jericho. Jericho slaps Edge. Jericho then chops Edge a couple of times and runs him headfirst into the ring apron several times. Edge falls backwards onto the mat. Jericho starts kicking Edge. He gets Edge backed into a corner and starts to chop him again. Edge reverses a corner whip. Jericho climbs to the second rope, but Edge dumps him over the ropes to the outside. Jericho holding his wrist on the outside as the "You Screwed Matt" chant starts again. Edge goes outside and rams Jericho back first into the barricade. Edge rolls into the ring to break the count before going out after Jericho again. He then throws Jericho back in the ring. Edge stomping Jericho on the back. He gets a 1 count. Edge slapping Jericho. Edge with a backbreaker. He gets a 2 count. Edge puts his knee into Jericho's back and pulls back on Jericho's arms. Batista shown in the back looking at the monitor again. Jericho gets to his feet and knees Edge in the gut. Jericho with forearm to Edge. Jericho chops Edge. Edge responds with a poke to the eyes. Edge gets Jericho on the ropes and chokes him. Edge goes to body guillotine Jericho, who turns around and hits a hot shot and a clothesline to Edge. A Y2J chant goes out. Jericho with a couple of chops and Edge reverses a clothesline. Jericho comes back with a flying forearm. Jericho with a shoulder block. Jericho misses a clothesline, but hits a nice drop toe hold. Jericho hits a body guillotine on Edge. Jericho hits a Hurricane Rana for a 2 count. Jericho with a running enziguri gets a 2 count. Jericho with a chop and an Irish whip. Edge kicks Jericho in the face when Jericho drops his shoulder too early. Jericho with a takedown. Jericho with a couple of shots and a corner whip. Jericho goes for a bulldog, but Edge pushes off and kicks Jericho in the face. Edge goes to the outside and grabs the Money in the Bank briefcase. He gets up on the apron and the referee warns him not to bring the briefcase into the ring. Meanwhile, Jericho goes up and hits Edge with a springboard dropkick. Jericho then hits a crossbody onto Edge on the outside. Jericho takes the padding off of the barricade and runs Edge into it. He then goes and throws Edge back inside the ring. Jericho goes up top and jumps, but Edge moves out of the way and hits the execution for a 2 count. Edge gets to the corner and sets up for the spear. A boring chant goes out. Jericho leapfrogs to avoid the spear and Edge hits the corner turnbuckle and Jericho with a roll up into the walls of Jericho. Edge manages to get to the ropes. Jericho releases the hold and Edge falls to the outside. The referee trying to get Jericho away from the rope so that he can count, and Edge hits Jericho with the briefcase. Edge then hits a missile drop kick. It only gets a 2 count and Edge can't believe it. Edge sets up for the spear again. He hits the spear and gets the pin to advance. Edge holds up the briefcase in the aisle and gloats as he is leaving the ring. Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler wish The Rock a happy birthday. Chris Masters comes out and poses. He makes his way towards the ring. JR and Lawler get into a discussion about a person from the night before and their gender as we have reached the cringe portion of the evening. Master says this has been easier than he first thought because there hasn't been a man or a woman for that matter that has even come close to breaking the Masterlock. He was even thinking about not having the challenge tonight. Seeing how some tough New Yorker can't even break it, why would he think that anybody in Boston could? The crowd boos. He says he's being serious, but he says he's been thinking about it to up the offer. So tonight what he has is $4,000 a Kurt Schilling jersey, and a Tom Brady autographed football. He picks a guy in a Backlash shirt to do the challenge. The guy gets in the ring. The guy says his name is James DeFalco from Boston. They set him up, and Masters gets the Masterlock on. He passes out in like 10 seconds. Triple H and Ric Flair are shown backstage making their way to the ring. Final Gold Rush Tournament first round match. Triple H with Ric Flair versus Chris Benoit. Triple H comes out looking determined. Benoit looks all business coming to the ring. The bell rings and they circle each other. They lock up. Push back to a corner. Triple H misses a clothesline attempt and Benoit with a hard chop to Triple H's chest. They circle each other again. They lock up again. Benoit with a side headlock. Triple H pushes off. Benoit comes back with a shoulder block. They run the ropes. Triple H with a kick to the midsection. Benoit slips out and goes for the crossface. Triple H fights going into the move. Triple H pushes off and hits a back elbow. Triple H goes for a belly-to-back suplex, but Benoit rolls out of it and gets a double leg pickup on Triple H. He tries to turn Triple H over, but Triple H struggling to get to the ropes. He reaches the ropes. Triple H reaches for the top rope, and Benoit slams him down to the mat as he lets go. Benoit with a snap suplex. He then goes for the crossface again, but Triple H slips out of the ring to regroup. Benoit follows him out and hits Triple H with a forearm from behind. They go back into the ring. Benoit with kicks and chops to Triple H in the corner. Then a series of chops. Triple H reverses a corner whip, and Benoit hits the corner sternum first. Triple H then hits a clothesline from behind. Benoit falls to the outside. They come back from commercial break, and Triple H has Benoit in the ring and knocks him down with a shot. Triple H pushes off and hits Benoit with another clothesline from behind. He gets the 2 count. They said that Benoit may be concussed and that they had doctors come down to check on him during the break as we have reached the uncomfortable part of the show. Triple H drops a knee on Benoit. He gets another 2 count. Benoit struggling to try to get back to his feet. He gets up and starts chopping Triple H. He goes to shoulder blocks Triple H and Triple H gets the sleeper on. Benoit sinks to one knee. Benoit fading quickly. Benoit's arm doesn't fall the 3rd time. Benoit rushes forward and drives Triple H headfirst into the corner turnbuckle. A double count going. Triple H goes for a sleeper. Benoit counters into a side suplex. Another double count going as Flair tries to motivate Triple H to get up. Both up at 5 as Benoit ducks a Triple H clothesline attempt and hits a German suplex. He goes for a second one, but Triple H hits him with a mule kick and a back elbow. Triple H goes for the pedigree, but Benoit counters into 3 German suplexes. Benoit signals and then goes up top. He hits the diving headbutt on Triple H. He gets a close 2 count. They both get back to their feet. Triple H rushes Benoit, who gets a double leg pickup on Triple H and goes for the sharpshooter. Flair gets up on the apron. Benoit brings him into the ring over the top rope and starts chopping him in the corner. The referee pulls Benoit off of Flair, and Triple H hits Benoit from behind with a forearm and knocks both Benoit and the referee out. Flair attacks Benoit. Flair and Triple H attack Benoit until Batista's music hits, and he comes out. He knocks Flair down and goes back and forth with Triple H. He hits Triple H with a sidewalk slam. He Irish whips and backdrops Flair. He then takes Flair out with a clothesline. Triple H goes for a pedigree on Batista, who pushes off. Batista hits a spine buster on Triple H. Batista rolls out of the ring and tries to get Benoit up. Both Triple H and Benoit get up at the same time. Benoit with another double leg on Triple H and puts the sharpshooter on. Triple H tries to get to the ropes, but Benoit pulls him back. He tries it again and Batista pulls the rope away. Triple H calls Batista a son of a bitch and then finally taps. Batista celebrates. Triple H in agony, trying to go after Batista as they sign off from Boston. Final thoughts. This is a strange show. The Michaels and Benjamin match was fantastic, one of the best matches I have ever seen on a Raw and probably the match of the year for 2005, especially on a Raw. It's always hard watching a Benoit match, so if you skip the final match, I understand. Worth it for the Benjamin and Michaels stuff. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TheJoeyHairs. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. I would really appreciate it. Thank you for joining me this week. This is Joey saying so long from stately Maine Manor.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.